Let me tell you a story. The scholars say that our species shifted from sapiens to Celestius when we started working in the Nebula mines. That's the consensus, at least. Like any majority opinion, it lacks both context and attention to facts or evidence. And it fits a narrative that matches what we want to believe about ourselves. The counter-narrative has much to say about it, but they too want their narrative to be followed. When I began my research, I had a narrative too and set out to prove it. I didn't think then that my reasons for doing so were relevant. Like most scholars, I thought my scientific approach would suffice to clear any potential bias. I thought there was a truth that could be found. I've learned my lesson now, one of the too few of us that do. You may have read my papers. I have to assume a bit of arrogance here, though I hope you'll excuse me for that. I have written so many, traveled to so many systems that my bones are beginning to ache with relativity sickness. The time scars that Celestius learned to diagnose are etching away at my energy, and the medbots have told me that I need to find a system to settle down on if I want to keep my mind intact. I am told my interviews are still playing across the quadrant, and my findings will be all the rage when they arrive to the edge colonies. Some of it is an exaggeration, I know. Information decays over the light years. Still, when it comes to the Nebula mines, many want to listen. They ache in our collective memory, the mines do. One of our worst mistakes or greatest triumphs, depending on who you ask. Even now, the few that still exist, manned by the bots, of course, are a source of speculation, conspiracy, and wonder. When I began my career, I thought I was searching for an origin story. However you define Celestius, generally, organ development, gravity sensitivity, and other various adjustments in gestation, growth, and sensory additions, I thought that I was looking for a line of linearity, moments in time when each adjustment took place, a definitive gate that sapiens walked through and came out Celestius. Of course, that's not what I found, but it's also not what I was looking for. What I was looking for had nothing to do with Celestius, which is merely an evolution of a creature that inhabits a four-dimensional relativistic environment. It did have everything to do with the Nebula mines, what they were, what happened there, and the answers to the rumors. Whatever happened that made Celestius into what it is today, there is one part of the story that cannot be denied. Whatever version you tell, something traumatic and profound happened in the Nebula mines, the likes of which our species has not yet been able to articulate, something so clearly away from anything we are or could hope to be that it has no expression in any of our senses or linguistics. Some say it was the sheer scale of the forces at play. Others say it was the vastness. The fringe accounts whisper of alien creatures, though they vary so widely, most scholars say that those accounts cannot be true, the product of stressed minds in the face of unimaginable power. These days, the Nebula mines are back in the news. The cults insist it is our destiny, that in fact the miners were at the beginning of a new evolution, the first stages of whatever Celestius will become next, Deus, according to them. A few even say that the reports of creatures were our future selves, unbound from time. The politicians are beginning to cave, suggesting scholarly missions. Others talk about resources and the demands of a spacefaring, dominant species. Conflicts are starting to break out between those who say we must and those who say we must not. I suppose I understand. It's been many generations on most systems since the last survivors of the mimes died out, taking their haunted energies with them. It's easy to be less afraid when the evidence of trauma is not looking at you in the face over the dinner table. A shell of a thing that has passed beyond understanding and has lost the ability to reach back, not even to know if it should. That is why I am writing this now. The record is linear locked, so you will have to download each word and process it before you can use me as a political tool. Because now, in the face of Celestius's greatest crisis, too vast for even our relativistic brains, I am telling all my secrets, betraying the trust of someone after making a vow on my life not to. Let me begin. I am older than I say I am. I have traveled farther than I say I have. I have met not one, but 2 survivors, and I have been to the edge of a mine. Spent time even studying. The first survivor was my father. The second was my lover. And in the mines, I saw the vastness of everything that Celestius cannot understand, including the creature. The end.